Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stop Being Sold, a community of informed consumers who are sick and tired of being sold financial products they don't understand or need. So if you are tired of being a transaction, go ahead and hit that notification bell and also the subscribe button so you never miss another video from us. And if you like the content of this video, please give us that thumbs up sign. Helps us grow the channel and lets us know that you're enjoying the content we're producing. How are you today, Brian?
Hey, doing great, Michelle. How about yourself?
I'm excited today because we're talking about what Michelle loves more than anything in the world, which is crypto.
It's gotta be crypto.
Right? Specifically, we're talking about earning passive income with your crypto, whether it's through crypto lending or through staking. And it's a hot topic right now. And I think it's important to understand the difference.
Very hot topic. Matter of fact, when I was in Miami for the National Bitcoin Conference there a week and a half ago, lending and staking crypto were massively spoken about. A lot of sessions I went to learn more about what was going on in the industry, and could not believe the explosive growth in this side of the world. So.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I've been in it for over a year, either lending or staking, and it's more than a year, I guess, at this point. And it's been really awesome to watch it just grow.
That's
and
awesome.
What's possible. So without further ado, let's dive in. We're going to talk today about the two ways to earn passive income. Number one is lending, which is more centralized. So you're lending on centralized platforms, and it tends to be more of a passive way to earn passive income as opposed to staking, which is a bit more active and tends to happen in, it's more decentralized, I should say. So both have their pros and cons, and both can yield decent returns, and they allow you to compound your crypto.
Oh, that's awesome. So Michelle, let's start with crypto staking.
Sure.
Explain it in just detail. What is crypto staking for the novice out there?
Sure. So simply put, it's where you lease out your crypto for a specific period of time to the blockchain to earn rewards in the form of more crypto. Think of it like a CD, a certificate of deposit, but it's way better because your interest is way better. So staking generates income because you're rewarded for pledging your crypto assets to support a specific blockchain network, right? So it's like it's almost like this: I believe in this project, therefore I'm going to stake this crypto in order to help them grow the network. So staking is similar to mining in this way, where miners dedicate computing power to the blockchain and stakers dedicate the coins. And both miners and stakers are rewarded with more crypto.
Okay.
So there's important things about staking. You can only stake cryptocurrencies that use the POS model, which is the proof of stake model, versus the proof of work model. So proof of work model would be like Bitcoin. Okay. So you can't actually stake Bitcoin. Stake, you can't. You can lend it, but you can't stake it. No, only proof of stake model, not proof of work. Okay. So staking is how new transactions are basically added to the blockchain. And I'm just going to real quickly touch on this, but I think it's important to understand. And if I lose you here and you're watching this, just hang tight. I promise it'll all make sense in a minute. But proof of stake is a consensus mechanism for processing transactions and creating new blocks on a blockchain. It's basically a method for validating entries into a blockchain and keeping it secure. That's it.
Makes sense. So how does that work in more detail?
Okay, so let's say you have a stable coin like USDC. Okay, just use that. Yep. Let's use that as an example. And you pledge your crypto, or like I stake my Atom, which is also Cosmos. So let's use these two examples. You've got Atom or you have USDC. And you pledge your crypto to a cryptocurrency protocol. From there, the protocol will choose validators to confirm these block transitions. So every time a block is added to the blockchain, a new cryptocurrency coins are minted. So more Atom would be minted, or more USDC, and they're distributed as staking rewards to that block's validator. So in most cases, the rewards are the same type of currency, cryptocurrency, right? So if you're staking Atom, you're getting paid back in Atom. If you're staking
Okay.
USD, you're getting it back in that, right? However, there are some blockchains that use different type of cryptocurrencies for rewards. So it just depends. And then the last thing about staking, it's really important to understand, is that it's ideal for long-term crypto holders. So we'll get into this in a minute, but you do have to pledge it often for a certain amount of time. And so I'll leave it at that.
So kind of like in the equity world, you hold your equities to get paid dividends over the long haul.
Right.
So, so that'd be a good comparison.
Right. And the CD thing is certificate deposit. It's, it's the same thing. It's, I want to, there's a year or 6 months, whatever, I'm going to put money into this in order to earn money back.
Makes sense. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was crypto staking. What is the crypto lending side?
Okay. So lending crypto is basically when you lend crypto to a borrower in exchange for interest payments. So you're not giving your crypto to a specific network to help the network validate transactions like with staking. So it's pretty simple. An exchange or a platform connects you, the investor, with the borrower. So you have someone that's hooking you up, right? And you earned interest. And when you want to, you can pull that money out. So
makes sense.
How they pay interest just depends on the exchange or the platform, right? Some allow you to get paid in different crypto than the one you're lending. Some don't. Same with the payout periods. For example, I lend on BlockFi and I'm paid on the first of every month. I also lend on Celsius and I'm paid every Monday. So it just depends on the platform.
So it sounds like, Michelle, that there's multiple different ways to actually lend in crypto then, right?
Right. Yeah, there are. So I mentioned exchanges. So there's three main ways to lend your crypto. Number one, on exchanges like Gemini, Binance, Bitfinex, things like that. Second, crypto lending platforms. I mentioned two of them already, Celsius, BlockFi. There's also crypto.com and a few others. And then there's DeFi lending platforms such as like Aave and Compound. Right. So I'll just break this down. So exchanges. Okay, so more and more exchanges are allowing you to lend and receive, returns on crypto that you're, not actively trading. The issue I have, the reason I don't lend on exchanges is that they hold really large balances in online hot wallets to meet the demand of traders, right? They have to have that liquidity there.
Right.
And they have a history of being hacked and losing funds. So I like risk, but not this kind of risk.
Not that kind of risk. Yeah.
Exactly. It makes them risky to lend on because they're using these online hot wallets and it makes sense. I mean, they're not doing anything wrong. It's just that's the nature of these exchanges. The volume of trade is really
And so that's the first one. The second one, you talked about crypto lending platforms. How is that different?
Sure. Okay. So crypto lending platforms, they use custodians and they have better storage solutions than exchanges. So what they do is they hold less crypto funds online than exchanges. So they're pulled it off and it's a custodian wallet over here as opposed to, being held on the exchange. So they hold less crypto funds online and than the exchanges do, who are having to meet this demand of money in, money out. And so all of the top crypto lending platforms offer investment opportunities for crypto-backed loans. And the loans are more diversified from just like traders who want access to like crypto derivatives. Nice. So I stick with the crypto lending platforms for right now. Which leads us to number 3. And I'm not going into this because this is not my wheelhouse. I am getting into it currently, but it's the DeFi lending platform. Love me some DeFi space, but it does take some digging and some understanding before you dive into it. So I'll just give a quick brief thing here. So DeFi lending platforms typically pay lower interest rates than centralized platforms. They're newer. And investors tend to be a bit more active in in this space. So it's not like I
Okay.
can just say, oh, I'm going to put some money in this and I'll lend this and then you just get money. There's a lot to go into with this. People have to be a bit more active on it. And if you're not, like I said, if you're not familiar with DeFi, stay away from this option right now. If you're deep in DeFi, you're probably not even watching this video.
I appreciate that because
Yeah.
honestly, our goal here is to inform and
Right.
then also to step you back a little bit. We really want you to understand it before you step into that space.
Well, and the other thing, Brian, is that what I've chosen to do with in my crypto journey, there's so much going on. And every time you turn around, you're like, what's that? What's this? What's this? And we just did a video on crypto trends talking about metaverse,
Right.
Web3, NFTs. I choose one thing, I deep dive, I decide if it's for me or not, and then I move to the next thing. But I continually am learning because even within the staking or the lending space, it's evolving so quickly. So if you can't get your head around it, it's okay. You're not the only one.
Right. And that makes sense to me. I with running the practice and everything, and what I see out there, what I do personally for myself. I stepped into the NFT space just to bring my grandkids up into it. So I had a specific purpose for doing that. So
absolutely.
So I agree on what you did there. So big question here. I love everything you said so far. So this is very interesting, but how much money can you make staking versus lending? How's that?
Okay. So you can make a lot. We'll start there. A lot more than you can in a bank. But really it depends on where you stake and where you lend, what type of crypto you lend, what type of crypto you stake, and for how long. So, the interest rates for staking and lending, they can go from 1% to 15%. There's some that are even higher than that. But that tends to that happens with these liquidity pools and things like that. And that's not what we're talking about today. I'm just keeping it super basic. So let's talk lending. Like right now on platforms like BlockFi and Celsius for, you can earn around 10%. I think it's 10.73% stable coins, certain stable coins, and 4 to 5% on up to 6% on Bitcoin. It just depends. Here's the thing. It's always changing. And if you register for one of these two centralized, they're more centralized, which is important to understand. These platforms or even crypto.com, it's really important that you read the emails they send you because they are constantly updating you. We're changing the rates. We're doing this. And so it can fluctuate.
Okay. I was going to say, how long did they lock them rates in? But it sounds like it's more of a variable rate based on supply and demand.
Yeah, that's what I haven't actually figured that out yet. I think that's exactly what it is, but it'll change. And there's some that don't change at all. You're like, okay, that's just stayed steady forever. So
thank you. Yeah, we like those.
Right? I know. Exactly.
That's kind of like the old school equity stocks that you bought IBM back in the day and held it forever because it paid the consistent, steady dividend. So
right, exactly. And as I alluded to in that last crypto video we did, it's like making babies with your crypto. They just keep
I love that.
more, come, and then you have this great little nest and it compounds, which is the beauty of it. So.
Nice.
All right. So I think it's important, if I can, Brian, I want to just keep going and talk about the pros and cons of lending versus staking or staking versus lending.
Sure.
I think it's important for people to understand that. So I'm going to break it down. The benefits of staking. Obviously passive income, right? You're earning some decent amount of interest on your crypto assets, right? And if you're going to hold it, why not make money on it?
That makes sense.
Right? Earn more crypto. So it's the compounding effect, which is beautiful. And you don't need equipment. If you're staking, you don't need equipment like you would for crypto mining. People stake on their phone, right? It doesn't matter anymore. You don't need this huge giant, don't need a ton of electricity. When you're staking, you're helping maintain the security and the efficiency of the blockchain, which is you're contributing to making this a better.
You're part of it.
Yeah, you're part of it. Exactly. And it's also more energy efficient and it's better for the environment than to stake than mine. So that's, for those that are concerned about that, right? It's important to know that it's way less energy. So,
Yeah, that's being brought up quite a bit about the energy efficient and better for the environment. A lot of concerns out there with a lot of the mining side of it that we're hearing. So they did discuss that in quite detail at the Miami
Bitcoin conference.
conference. Yeah. So what are some of the cons of staking? There's some great tips on the pros of it. What's some cons?
Okay, so lockup periods. Some of these staking platforms require you to lock up your crypto for a certain amount of time, which
Right.
means you can't unlock and sell when you need to, if you need to. This is important.
Okay, so if the crypto's dropping in price and you're still earning, but you can't pull it out and sell it. So
yeah, which leads me to the second one, which is liquidity, or I should say
okay.
illiquidity risks, right? So if you're staking, let's say, I mean, this is different, but if you're staking any kind, altcoin, microcap altcoin that barely has any liquidity on the exchanges, you may find difficult to sell your asset, your crypto, or convert your staking returns into Bitcoin or stable coins. You know, staking liquid assets with high trading volumes on exchanges can mitigate this risk, but you just got to be really careful. You know, here's really the thing is that what I found, whether you're lending or staking, be very careful chasing that yield. If it, you know what I mean? Like you're like, ooh, look at that, 49%, what, 100,000, whatever percent, be careful.
Right.
You have to look at the lockup terms and also like, what actually are you getting yourself into?
This sounds very familiar when we talk about annuities,
read the contract.
investments, and locking up your assets, having illiquid assets out there. This is virtually the same thing, but with a different asset here. This is exciting.
Yep. Well, I have a third one real quick before we move on, which is getting your assets out. That's another con.
Okay.
When you want to unstake your crypto, there, like, let's just say your time frame's done, right?
Okay.
It's over. There may be an unstaking period it could be 7 days, it could be longer. It just depends. So currently I'm staking my Atom and I can't just say unstake, sell it right now. I have to wait.
Okay. So basically this goes back to what we've been talking about ever since we started the channel. Read the contract, read the fine print, understand what you're doing.
The devil's in the details. Don't go do something because someone told you to do it. It's dangerous, especially in the crypto space.
Okay, thank you for that. So that was some of the pros and cons of staking. What are some of the pros and cons of lending?
Okay, I'll start with the pros. Let's go positive first. Obviously, you're earning passive income. Same with staking.
Yep.
I love this one. This is like what I'm like on fire for, is you're able to, when you lend, someone else is borrowing. Remember that. You can support the world's 1.7 billion unbanked borrowers. And also, I know quite a few people who are borrowing Bitcoin to grow their business.
Makes sense.
So we're not you, but we all, if you do that, you're supporting those people where the banks are like, no, you need this and you need that. And you need, you know how they are.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And so also like, you know, I don't know. That's my big thing is you're really helping a lot of people. So anyway, and then another pro for me is that you can lend out Bitcoin. Remember, Bitcoin is proof of work. So you can't stake it. You can only stake proof of stake. Proof of work, I meant, sorry. Proof of stake, not proof of work. So you can lend it out and you can make money on it.
Okay.
And then the cons, this is a big one. You know, Brian, I know at the North American Bitcoin Conference where you were, they talked a lot about regulation.
Yes.
We've got this executive order from the Biden administration supposedly coming soon. You know, anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Just say there's a lot of regulation and it's not just in America, it's globally. Central banks people are freaking out, you know, because the world's changing and how we interact and how we build communities and how we exchange money, and the fact that crypto allows you to own your own money.
Right.
It's banks are freaking out. So the cons of lending, there's been a lot of conversation with regulation in the SEC and fill in the acronym for whatever group is doing what, but it's really unknown what they're going to be doing with lending platforms. So one thing last year in 2021, the SEC threatened to sue Coinbase if they went through their program Coinbase Lend, which was obviously a lending platform, and they pulled it immediately. So, yeah. And then, And so there is a lot of uncertainty. Does it mean you don't go do it? No, it just means you need to be on top of the regulation and making sure that you don't have the rug pulled out from underneath you. And also get active. Get active, make phone calls, call senators, get really active in what's going on with this regulation.
Yeah, that was brought up quite a bit, actually. I was in a group compliance section and meeting with some of the top officials from all over. There were some from DC, New York, LA, Miami there that were in the space. And that was a common theme, was get involved with your local communities, get involved with your local government chapters. Understand that it's us that can help craft these bills.
Absolutely.
Because the thing is, there wasn't, from what I could see out of 5,000 plus people that were there, I didn't see anybody that was from the SEC or the actual government there trying to learn like I was and learn the regulations, see what you could do to help build this the correct way and don't over-regulate it, which could kill it. So.
Right, which defeats the whole purpose of it. But they're going to do, they're operating in an antiquated system.
Right.
And it's dying, and they want to take old laws, like as some of these SEC laws are how old, and they want to be able to apply this to crypto. And you're like, no, man, it's a new dawn. It's a new era. And it's something, whatever.
It's coming. It's coming. But we can expect it to come.
Something coming. Anyway, so another a con, there's smaller coin selection with lending.
Really?
So
okay.
Yeah. Staking, I mean, think about all the DeFi, all these coins, you can stake so much, and there's a smaller selection with lending, and then fewer platforms do it. So your choices are limited. I don't see those last two as really being cons, but I think it's important to
it is important, because if you're limited as far as your choices, that also limits your upside potential also.
For sure.
Back to the Bitcoin conference in Miami. I was surprised to see some major banks there.
Yeah.
And that had lending programs. And go back to one of your pros on the lending side of it. Supports the world's 1.7 billion unbanked borrowers and people who can get the loans, right? The one bank really was focused on, they came about during the PPP program during the pandemic for small businesses. And they expanded into this because it just made sense to help fund small businesses that can borrow against their assets, which are crypto. So it was pretty exciting to see that.
That's actually exciting. Yeah, exciting to hear, right? Because if you don't, at this point, if you don't adapt, you die. That's how life works. That's how nature works. That's just a law of nature, right?
Right. So, and I could see the whole, the lending side of it really taking off, because that was the only bank that spoke during the 3-day event. But during the private parties and the after events and, whatever, little conferences, little side conferences that were going on that I was part of, there were multiple banks there. I won't mention all their names, but they're in the top 3 of the United States, biggest banks were there.
That actually makes me,
Yeah. So what were they trying to understand it? Were they trying to see what was going on with it? Or maybe they're building their own platforms.
Right.
But let's put it this way. Wall Street will gravitate to what is working. And when you got such a movement like this, whether the crypto staking or crypto lending side, you're going to see big players try to come into it. We understand.
Follow the money, right?
Yes, follow the money. It's that simple. Just follow the money. But some final thoughts on this. I want to thank you for this, Michelle, because this goes back to everything you said today. It goes back to what we've been preaching for a long time now, which is redefine print, understand what your comfort level is, what your risk factor is, use reputable platforms, and you give us multiple platforms.
Brian, you totally, my whole internet just went out.
Yeah, so Michelle, thanks for this today. Some final thoughts from me as a financial advisor for 24 years. Everything you've said today is basically what we've been preaching for a long time, but with a different asset, right?
Sure. Right.
Read the fine print.
Absolutely.
Know your comfort level, know your risk level, use reputable platforms, do your research. If you have zero plans to sell your stakeable cryptocurrency in the next 90 days, for example, staking is a solid option for generating some passive income while supporting the blockchain at the same time. Makes sense. Absolutely. And if you can accept a period of illiquidity, there's very little downside. This is very similar to what we talk about in the annuity world, the investment world. This is just another asset. So, and if you'd like to earn passive income on your non-stakeable cryptocurrency and want access to your crypto when you want it, then lending may be your better option here, is what I'm hearing. Is that correct?
That's absolutely right. Yeah. And I want to add really quickly, do your coin research as well. So I've started doing deep dives. I'll just tell you, I've got USDC, I have UST, which is the Luna stablecoin. And I just held it and making money on it and doing my thing. And then one day I was like, wait a minute, is this collateralized? Like, what's going on with this thing, right? And I went and did a deep dive into the UST. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, right? And how is it different than Luna? Terra Luna, it's part of the ecosystem, but I got myself real educated, and from that moment on, I decided that I was going to, even if it just seemed, oh, it's dollar for dollar, well, let's do some research into this.
Sure.
How is it pegged? What's it pegged to? Is it algorithmic? What is it? So do your coin research. Don't just be very careful when you start to see high, yields. You're like, ooh, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. Because, you can get wrecked real quick if you're not careful.
That's a valid point. I don't know how many times I've got phone calls from clients of mine over the years. Brian, I just got this postcard in the mail, or I got this email that I can get 12.5% on my money, a CD, 12.5%, or this, that, and the other. It's like, let's read the fine print first, and please read the fine print first. So.
And also, and I just will say this, if you see higher, up to 15%, 10%, 20%, I'm getting 20% on stuff. It doesn't mean that we're not saying this is a scam and this is bad. It's that you have to really fully understand what you're in. And I think it goes back to there's money coming in, there's institutions coming into the crypto space, which makes it a little different. But those of us who've been in it since 2011, those of us who've been in it since 2017, 2016, 2018, a lot of people believe in, it was a libertarian movement started.
It was
after 2008, right? After too big to fail. And the fact, you mentioned earlier, it's community. Like when you stake, you're helping the blockchain. You get to be a part of something. Sometimes they give you, there's voting rights. You're actually able to really contribute to what's being built. So anyway, I'm on a soapbox. I'm going to end there.
I want to thank you for this today, Michelle. If you guys got questions about this, drop them in the comment section below, and we'd love to hear the comments, and we'll get back to you on that. So thanks again, Michelle.
Yeah, and if you like this video, please, we'd love the thumbs up sign, or hit that like button is what I should say. It'll really help us know that you like this, and also helps us grow the channel. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already.
Definitely. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.